So thank you everyone for joining. My name is Cody Armstrong, and I'm really excited about today's webinar because it covers a topic that I've been asked countless times, and that is how do I insert a bill of materials into an Onshape drawing? And as of the last update, we've added this ability. And so it's really exciting to be able to allow users to do this because I think nearly every user out there needs this kind of capability. So the topic again, inserting your bill of materials into an Onshape drawing. So something we just announced as of a week or two ago. So very exciting stuff. Again, as I always say with these webinars, we really encourage you to ask any questions that you'd like. There's a questions dialog in your GoToWebinar control panel. Feel free to ask any questions, and I'll do my best to stop and address them from time to time. Now, one of the bill of materials apps available in the App Store is OpenBOM, and we're fortunate enough to be joined by Oleg from OpenBOM, and he's available to answer any questions that I can't regarding OpenBOM and its functionality. I'm going to give you a brief demo of it in just a moment. So again, inserting a bill of materials into an Onshape drawing. Now, the agenda is real short. This is going to be a short webinar where the functionality isn't very complex, right? You can just literally a button in the toolbar. But I'm going to introduce you to bill of materials apps. If you haven't used a bill of materials app yet, I'm just going to give you kind of a high-level overview of how to get started. And then we're going to discuss how to create a BOM. I'm going to use OpenBOM as an example. We also have the Onshape BOM for Google Sheets app available as well. But then I want to get into the meat of that and of this, of course, and that is show how to insert the bill of materials into a drawing. I think that's what everyone here wants. I generate my bill of materials, great. Now how do I put it into the drawing and start to balloon things and so on? So that's where we're going to focus on. As I mentioned before, this is going to be a short webinar, so feel free to ask any questions that you'd like as we're going through this, and I'll do my best to stop and answer questions from time to time. All right, so let's get started. Now, before I get into the bill of materials specific apps, I want to introduce you to the Onshape App Store if you haven't heard of it before. The Onshape App Store is where we're going to access the bill of materials apps, but there's a lot of other apps in there. So if you're looking for apps for CAM, rendering, finite element analysis, fluid dynamics, bill of materials, like we're discussing here today, or data management, definitely check out the Onshape App Store. And there's an icon in the top right corner of your document. Click it, it will take you to the App Store, and you have an opportunity to check out any one of these apps. And again, a neat thing about this is it's very much a try and buy type integration with Onshape. It allows you to try it. Most, if not all, apps have some sort of a free offering. So definitely a good place to get your feet wet and try out different apps available for Onshape. All right, so let's get into it. Now, in the App Store are two apps that I really want to focus on here today, and that is Onshape BOM for Google Sheets and OpenBOM. And the reason I want to focus on these two apps is because they both integrate with this new ability to insert the BOM into the drawing. So they both work with that capability. And I'm going to focus primarily on OpenBOM. It's an integrated app. It works right inside the document. But a lot of what I'm showing here today will carry over to Onshape BOM. And I will give you a simple demo of how to export the BOM from there. So these are the two bill of materials apps from the App Store that I would check out. I'm going to show you OpenBOM today, but Onshape BOM for Google Sheets, if you're a fan of Google Sheets, is a great BOM app as well. All right, so Onshape BOM for Google Sheets. A quick intro into it. It is a connected cloud app. If you've ever used Google Sheets, essentially you're pulling in all your assembly information into a Google Sheet that you can then modify and make your changes to. So essentially it's Google Sheets and it pulls in all that data. It has the ability to update, to push data back and forth, and it also has the ability to export the bill of materials, which is an important step for what we're talking about here today. And I'll show you an example of this. But the neat things, it's a connected cloud app, right? Google Sheets is a separate application, but it ties into that. It runs on any modern browser. It's created by our own Lou Gallo. So if you're familiar with Lou on our UX team, he was the actual creator of this app. So Onshape BOM is the first app that I would recommend checking out. And then we're going to talk about OpenBOM. Now, OpenBOM is definitely in its own category when we talk about bill of materials apps. It's integrated directly into the document, so it's just another tab in your document. Runs on any browser. It has the same portability that you'd have with Onshape, right? So you can jump on any machine and get to your bill of materials just like you can with your CAD data. So it runs on any modern browser, but it has really a lot more control than just about any other bill of materials app out there. So if you're looking for independent history of your bill of materials or the ability to add properties and items and have all these advanced functions, OpenBOM is definitely the app that you want to check out. So again, it's integrated into the browser. It's just another tab in your document in Onshape. And it has a lot of capabilities that really give you kind of a high level of control. A lot of the capabilities in OpenBOM are something you would only see in a more traditional, very expensive EPDM system, product data management, for example. So that's OpenBOM, and I'm going to show you an example of it in just a bit. But just real quickly, with regards to OpenBOM, version control of bill of materials. So if you're looking for version control of bill of materials or real-time collaboration on your BOM, multiple BOMs per document, if you need that kind of functionality, all of those things can be done by OpenBOM. Now, another thing I want to mention is you can group by name, which is an important function if you do a lot of heavy multi-part modeling. And you also have the ability to do simple copy and paste, those kinds of functions. So for modifying the bill of materials, it's very spreadsheet-like in that sense, right? It gives you that familiar workflow. So those are just some general tips for OpenBOM. What I want to get into now is actually using it. Now, as I mentioned before, the bill of materials apps that I'd recommend are available on the Onshape App Store. So step one, make sure that you're using one of the available apps. If you're not familiar with it, in the top right corner, if you click App Store, it will take you to the Onshape App Store. You'll see OpenBOM right here, and then here's Onshape BOM for Google Sheets. So both of these are the two apps I'd recommend. We're going to primarily spend our time on OpenBOM. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to OpenBOM, get signed up for it, and then you can walk through like we're doing here today. So that's step number one. Make sure that you're subscribed to a bill of materials app before you get started. Now, what I'd like to do is generate a bill of materials. You can see I already have a drawing here with an exploded view, and I have an assembly for this worm gear speed reducer. And what I want to do is I want to generate a bill of materials for this assembly and then insert that bill of materials into my drawing. Right? So step number one, let's create our bill of materials. Now, with any integrated cloud app like OpenBOM, you can start it up right inside the document. So from the plus icon in the bottom left corner, you'll see Add Application. Now, I have a lot of different applications, currently that I'm using, but you can see one of them here is OpenBOM. Now, from here, it's going to launch OpenBOM. I'm already signed in, so it takes me right to the Create page. You may be prompted to sign in for the first time, but then you're off and running, right? So I can say, what kind of BOM do I want? Well, I want a parts list. I want it for this assembly, right? Assembly name here. And you have options, as I mentioned before, group by name and include geometric data. But in my case, I'm going to keep it simple and just click Create BOM. What this is going to do is go into the Onshape document and pull out all that data that I need for my bill of materials. So it's not just part name and things like that, but also description, part number, revision, state, all that metadata that I can add in the Onshape document, it's going to automatically grab and pull in. So step number one, creating that bill of materials. Once you've subscribed to something like OpenBOM, it's just a matter of clicking Create BOM. It will grab all that information and pull it in. So a few things that I want to point out. A lot of the part numbers, revisions, states are already filled out. And that's because I filled out that information in Onshape. But you have an option. You can go either way. So I can fill out the information in OpenBOM and update the Onshape properties. Or I can fill out the information in Onshape and update the BOM. So, think of it as pushing information back and forth. If you wanted to take the information in OpenBOM and push it to the Onshape document, update Onshape properties. If you want to take the Onshape properties and push them to the BOM, it would be update BOM. So the idea, again, I want to stress is that you have this bidirectional link. You can go back and forth. Whether you change your properties in Onshape or whether you change them in the bill of materials really doesn't matter. All right, so that's the basics of creating a bill of materials. Now, I'm not going to go through a detailed dive into OpenBOM just for time's sake, but just keep in mind, we have another webinar on OpenBOM specifically, and it's got a lot of capabilities for inserting items, properties. You have an independent history of the bill of materials, right? Share capabilities that allow you real-time collaboration. So a lot of very cool stuff in OpenBOM if you haven't checked it out already. Now, what I want to focus on is primarily its integration into drawings. How do I take this and insert it into my Onshape drawing. So let's walk through that. Now, the big thing here is really just a new icon. So as of this latest update, you'll find a new Insert BOM icon in your drawing toolbar. So the command is really, really simple, of course, right? You click Insert BOM, and you choose your bill of materials. Now, keep in mind, there are two options here, BOM Data and BOM Apps. We're using a bill of materials app, OpenBOM, so I'm going to choose BOM Apps, and you can see there's my bill of materials, right? So just choose it from the list, then it will be attached to your cursor. Move your bill of materials to where you want to place it, left click, and it places the bill of materials into your drawing. So, very simple process. Once you've created your bill of materials, it's literally a couple clicks to get it into the drawing. And at this point, it's a normal table. You can resize, you can do any kind of changes that you do with a normal table, justify and change the font size and all those details, just like any other table. But the neat thing is, again, this is linked to that bill of materials in OpenBOM. Right? Question: if I change the materials from OpenBOM, the old ones remain in the history. Yes, the material would be different, I believe, in that sense. It's not going to link dynamically. I think in the materials case, it would be one directional. But simple text properties like description and part number and revision and those kinds of things go back and forth. All right, so I see a few questions, namely, can the columns be moved? Yes, you can resize the columns. You can also reorder the columns. I'm going to show you an example of that in just a bit. But that's the simple operation. So again, generate your bill of materials using OpenBOM. Click the button for insert, choose your BOM, left click to place it. So that is inserting a bill of materials. Now, the natural question is, how do I change what's there? How do I update if I might decide to make a change? All those kinds of things. So that's really what I want to focus on. So this is our bill of materials as it currently is. And one thing I want to point out, and this is in general, I would say in Onshape, is the bill of materials is very much, think of it as a thing, not just a table in your drawing, but actually a tab in your document that can be modified and changed independently of the table in the drawing. So let's say, for example, I can see that OpenBOM has page number, it has type, it has these things that I may not care for. I may not want to see in the drawing. Right? They are useful in the case of the bill of materials, just having that information around, but I don't care to see it in the drawing. And so one of the commonly asked questions is, how do I change what is in the bill of materials? And a big tip is you don't have to remove columns from OpenBOM. I think that's the easy mistake to make. You come in here and you say, well, let's start removing or changing things up. And remember, this is the OpenBOM app, and you get to choose what you want to display in the drawing. And the way you do that is with the gear menu. So in the top right corner of OpenBOM, you'll see Drawing BOM Configuration. So you can choose what's a column in your bill of materials, right? So let's say that I don't care for type, I don't care for page number. I don't want to see those columns in my bill of materials when I go to insert it into my drawing, and that's an important thing. This is the Drawing BOM view, and that means that when you insert your bill of materials into a drawing, these are the things it's going to carry over. The big thing I like to stress is you can have as many columns as you'd like in OpenBOM. You can track as many things as you'd like in OpenBOM and only show a subset of those things in the Onshape drawing. Right? Now, I hit save. An important thing, let's go through and make a change. Let's say that I needed to change my bill of materials. Right? Let's say that you can see here I have a few revision properties that are blank. I can come in and add revisions, edit the part numbers, the descriptions, whatever it is that I'm trying to do, right? Make those changes. An important step, I've now made the changes in OpenBOM. I need to push those changes into Onshape, right? To do that, I go to Update Onshape Properties. What this will do is it will push those changes I made to, in this case, the revision property. It will push those into the document. And if I go back to my drawing, just like in, the way Onshape's drawings have always been, any change made to the document, you're going to see the update from this workspace icon highlight. right? So the idea is any change, whether it's a change to geometry or a change to metadata like we did here, I can click update. It will go through and refresh the data, not just the drawing view, the dimensions, but also things like the bill of materials, right? So now you can see there are my properties that I added. You can also see that I don't have type anymore as a column. I don't have page number anymore as a column. So again, remember that your OpenBOM app, that tab in the document, is totally independent. You can choose to insert pieces of it into your drawing. You don't have to insert everything as it is in OpenBOM. So again, that's kind of the update workflow. Whether you choose to walk through updating your properties in Onshape, or you choose to update your properties in OpenBOM, you will see once you update the update icon here in the drawing. All right, and that's all it takes to update back and forth. Questions? How do I upload a thumbnail image? Forgive me if I'm misunderstanding. You can upload any image into a document, but if you're referring to a thumbnail of the model, that is an option in OpenBOM. Can I have a column with the mass of the parts? Good question. I don't think so as of today. I could be wrong about this one, so forgive me, but I don't think you can pull mass today. I could be wrong. Can find numbers be added and placed on the field of the drawing pointing to that? Can find numbers be added and placed on the field of the drawing pointing to items? Find numbers, forgive me. So if you're referring to ballooning the parts and pointing to the right items in the exploded view, which is, I'm assuming, what you're referring to, it's not an automatic thing yet. And that's one thing that we're very aware of. Of course, the next step in the process after you've inserted your bill of materials is to then come in and balloon the parts to match. As of today, they're not parametrically linked. So just keep in mind the ballooning process. I can come in and add a balloon number to OpenBOM and then balloon accordingly, or balloon first and then make sure the balloon numbers match. But as of today, they're not parametrically linked. And that is something that we're working on. Can you dissolve subassemblies to release the parts? In the case of OpenBOM, you choose whether you want parts only, multi-level. Those are options in OpenBOM. Can be introduced new column formulas to calculate weight. No, I think I'll have to try that, to be honest. I'm not 100% sure. How do we add a custom property to the list of shown properties? Inserting custom properties is something we're going to cover in greater detail in an upcoming webinar. We've only just added that ability, so if you're referring to adding the properties to your company and then linking that in, we're going to cover that in greater detail in the future. So again, balloon numbers, question on balloon numbers. As of today, it would just be a matter of adding your balloon number to the BOM and then ballooning the parts as a separate step. Again, the only big thing here is they're not parametrically linked, and we're aware of it. We're working on it. As of today, it's a manual process. I see you already have O-ring, but there are two. Can we combine them? The quantity will show up. So remember, it's grabbing the quantity from your assembly. I have many items that are quantity 2. If the O-rings are different, then it would not be quantity 2, right? If they're two different types of O-rings. So just keep in mind, it will grab the quantity from the assembly. So that it's important to get those details right in the assembly, and then it just pulls that information in. Question, are you planning to make the text box linked to part number description mass? Yes, you can insert fields in notes that are linked to those properties, and we are going to be covering that. Keep an eye out for the end of the month. We're going to be covering drawings, inserting part properties into drawings, templates of drawings, those in greater detail, definitely in the future. So just keep an eye out. We're planning that probably for the end of this month. I missed balloon insertion. Can you show that again? The key thing is you click balloon and you click on the entities. It is not parametrically linked. So it's no different than the balloon command that you've used before, right? So it does not automatically link to the bill of materials. Okay. All right, so let's move on. Now, I mentioned before that you can update information here, push that information back to Onshape if you choose to. You choose what gets displayed in the Onshape drawing. So remember, if your bill of materials, if you want it to look a certain way, you don't want it to have certain columns, for example, or you do want it to add certain columns, you can do that with this drawing BOM view configuration. And this will, when you insert your bill of materials into your Onshape drawing, it will only have these columns. Now, another question that often gets asked is, how would I go about changing the columns, the order of the columns? And you can grab and drag the left to right order, so to speak, of these and just change them around. So if you want to see part number revision in a different order, you can do that just by grabbing and dragging, right? You'll see that updates here as well. So just keep in mind, you can reorder the BOM left to right if you choose to, if you want the columns to come in a different order. And you can choose what columns you want to display in your bill of materials. Okay. All right, so the last thing that I really wanted to mention here today is, as I said before, in OpenBOM is definitely a robust bill of materials app. It's built into Onshape. It has all the same benefits of Onshape in that you can get to it anywhere. It has history. It has real-time collaboration. So very much an Onshape spirit to OpenBOM. But there are other apps available as well, and I do want to mention Onshape BOM for Google Sheets. So if you're a fan of Google Sheets, there is Onshape BOM for Google Sheets. This was created by our own Luke Allo, and there's only really one big difference in how these operate. And so I want to mention this only because, again, there are going to be users out there who want to know how to update and insert the bill of materials from Onshape BOM for Google Sheets. So here's the same model, same drawing, and what I've done is instead of using OpenBOM, I'm using Onshape BOM for Google Sheets. The main thing I want to point out here is you'll find under add-ons, if you're familiar with Onshape BOM, this is how you create or update metadata for Onshape BOM for Google Sheets. There's Export BOM. And so this is the new option that's been added for this capability to insert into drawings. So once you've generated your bill of materials, you've made all the changes that you want, you've updated all your metadata, you export BOM, and you'll see a button here to export. All this is going to do is add a tab to the document that you can then import into a drawing, right? So it says successfully exported. It adds a tab to my document. Now, when I go to insert BOM, this time I'll choose BOM data. So that's really the key difference there. Just keep in mind, if you're using a connected cloud app like Onshape BOM for Google Sheets, then there's going to be a transfer. There's going to be an export process that transfers from Google Sheets to Onshape, and that's what that export BOM does in Onshape BOM. But then inserting it's no different than anything else. Just left-click, place it, and there is your Onshape BOM for Google Sheets, and that's how you would insert it into an Onshape drawing. Now, the key difference here is if you make any kind of changes, you will need to re-export the BOM. That will update the tab and prompt you to update the drawing. So there is one more step there if you're using a connected cloud app in that you have to export the BOM, but that's really it. So no matter if you're using OpenBOM, Onshape BOM for Google Sheets, you have the ability to now drop that bill of materials directly into your Onshape drawing. So that is what I had planned for you. I know it's a short one. I am going to stick around and answer any questions that you have. So make sure to ask any questions you have in the questions dialog and go to webinar. I will make sure to get to all of them. One quick question. I missed how you can combine the two O-rings into a single line item with quantity 2. Keep in mind, if they are quantity 2 in the assembly, they will come in automatically as quantity 2. So I would say it's important to keep accurate info in your drawing. So if you have two O-rings of the same part number, make sure in the assembly to insert the same O-ring, and it will be part whatever quantity 2, and you won't have to worry about combining in the bill of materials. I would say in general, it's better to keep that information in the assembly accurate rather than trying to manipulate the bill of materials to match. So again, just make sure in your assembly that you have the correct quantity of parts, and all that stuff will come in automatically in your bill of materials. Okay. All right. Can you go through how to do Onshape BOM for Google Sheets starting from scratch? Well, there is other videos out there on it. I would definitely do a search on it. It's not a difficult app by any means. Give me just a second here. Let me see if I can walk through it. The key thing is it uses the assembly as your reference. So you'll need the assembly URL. I can copy that. Come into a blank spreadsheet, go to add-ons, Onshape BOM, connect to Onshape. All right, it will connect to Onshape, and then I can create my bill of materials, paste in that link, and it creates my BOM. Now, there's update functionality going back and forth. I'm not going to get into too great a detail on Onshape BOM for Google Sheets or, its update or switching back and forth, but that's really all it takes to import that information from Onshape into a Google Sheet. All right. Make all your changes that you want, push that information back to Onshape, and then export the BOM and insert that into an Onshape drawing. But you can see it's essentially just pulling in that information from the Onshape model. Okay. All right, so we've discussed OpenBOM. We've discussed inserting the bill of materials into your drawing using OpenBOM and using Onshape BOM for Google Sheets. We've also discussed just briefly the update process and how to push information back and forth. I will say that we're going to go into greater detail on the drawing specifically, things like drawing templates and how do I add part properties to drawings and those kinds of that kind of information in a separate upcoming webinar. So keep an eye out if you're looking to speed up that process or automate that process. But I really want to focus on the new bill of materials functionality and really just that insert BOM capability in the drawing. So if you're generating your bill of materials using OpenBOM, Onshape BOM for Google Sheets, definitely make sure to give that new capability a shot. Right? All right, so I want to say thank you everyone for joining. I am going to stick around and make sure to answer any questions that you have. So feel free to ask any questions in the questions dialog in Onshape in GoToWebinar. And I want to say thank you everyone and have a good day.